Good morning. It's day 34, May 4th. We're sitting here eating our perfect bars for breakfast, which are far from perfect.
No,
they like
they are
them.
not.
They like them. I think they're disgusting. They taste like chalk. We had a decent sleep last night.
How do you know what chalk tastes like?
Oh, no. I'm sure I've put it in my mouth at some point. It felt colder last night than it was forecasted. Maybe it wasn't, but the wind just whipped through here, and it was cold. We had our tent set up in the shelter. Get back. Like that. And we had Camden kept scooting closer and closer to me, sticking his legs out of the quilt, so he kept getting cold. And then he kept scooting closer and closer to us, and then I guess I ended up scooting closer and closer to Kinsey. And about 4 o'clock in the morning, I realized that I was on her pad and she was on the ground for I don't know how much of the night. I think a pretty decent part of the night, because I kept feeling her pillow, because her pillow is in the bug net. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. So I think she slept half the night on the ground. And we were on her pad, and Camden was squished into me. But you slept okay? You said you were warm?
Yeah, I was fine.
Warm enough, anyway. And you, turkey. But, I think I slept pretty decent. Anyway, so we have 13.8 to go to the full hard shelter. And then it should be decent elevation, not too much up or down. And then the next day we'll go into Delville. So, and the wind is supposed to slow down tonight or today. I think there's still going to be wind, but not as much. And it's going to be a little bit warmer, perhaps. Hopefully no sleet today. All right, so we got out of there at about, I had to stop and organize my bag, but about 8:15. And so that was good. I wanted to get out by 8. Let's see, 13.8 to the next shelter. Actually, the next shelter is in 7.7. We'll have lunch there. And then 13.8 to the next one. The sun is out, so that is good. I don't think there's much to report today. Yeah, we'll just see how it goes. It should be a fairly decent terrain, easier than the last 2 days. Same miles, but a little bit easier elevation. A little bit easier. Not easy, but a little bit easier than the last couple of days. So we'll see how it goes. Right now we are headed uphill, as we always do when I'm filming, so I can huff and puff. Hear a woodpecker. And yeah. This is, Kinsey pointed this out. It's interesting. It's like a little, I don't know what you'd call that, like a hanging garden almost off this tree. Where did it go? Do I still have it in sight? Yes, it's just like dangling from this tree. I don't know if the video will do it justice, but I've never seen anything like that before. It almost looks like it's got roots up in the air. I don't quite understand that. It's just hanging from this tree here. Yeah, it's like it's got roots.
I got a fish! I got a fish! Look at this! I think I got a fish.
She fishes for her pole when she drops it. She doesn't want to pick it up. She fishes for it. This is how they entertain themselves. All right, let's go. AT fishing. Tomorrow night at the Super 8 Motel. It is right off the AT as you go into Delville. And it's nice to be able to call in and reserve one. They've got a hiker rate, $69. It's supposed to be a pretty decent, it's got good reviews. All the hikers say, it's apparently where all the hikers stay. It's apparently the place to go. but it looks like they have laundry. It's about a mile south of the post office where I have to pick up the box that Kirsten sent, and there'll be a Kroger between there and the hotel. So at least we're all set for tomorrow night, and that'll be nice. We can get showers and we can not have to worry about waking people up. I mean, hostels are great. We do like the hostels, but you do sort of have to, like, you know, you have to share the shower and the toilet and worry about waking up people and things like that, even though so far we've always had, well, no, we haven't had private room every night. We had bunk room the first time, but we only shared it with one person the one time, I think. Yeah. Anyway, okay.
Why would they build it
Something.
all the way down here?
Oh, I don't know. It's a retaining wall. Just a little something, nothing super significant, but just a little something to break up the monotony a little bit. The road is above there, so it's a retaining wall. It's to keep all this secure so that the road doesn't erode away up above. That's a cool wall. It looks like some kind of cool castle wall, doesn't it?
Whoa, tunnel! Cool.
Drainage. Yeah, that's a drain thingy. Glad it's not raining. Cool. Look at that. Is that a water drop? Water cache? It is. So look at this. This is our second trail magic. Hold on. Oh look, toilet paper and water. Isn't that nice? Well, we'll just dump it in the thing.
Oh,
And there's a trash can.
Trash bags too and toilet paper. Nice.
Yeah,
We
that's
should
so
grab
cool.
some toilet paper.
We don't need anybody. We got plenty.
But I'm gonna
So taking our trash and the empty bottles. We needed water actually. The next water's in 5 miles, which we would have been fine, but we're taking it and it's really beautiful. Beautiful view. This is a Blue Ridge Parkway. I don't know if I mentioned before, but I didn't in this video yet. So this trail runs along Blue Ridge Parkway and we cross it several times. Crossed it at least twice yesterday, maybe 3 times yesterday. So that's an example of somebody doing trail magic. Sometimes when there's long stretches without water, people know that and they'll come up and drop water like that. I wouldn't call this a particularly long stretch, but because there's more people, we're getting closer to the bubble, meaning the bulk of the people who started in Georgia and are heading north. Most people start in like March, and so we're starting to pass those people, and a lot of them have friends and family members, and just some people who just provide trail magic just as something they do. Maybe they just, maybe they can't hike the AT, and this is their way of doing it, participating in it in a little way. Some people who have hiked it before, or attempted to hike it before. Yeah, that looks like a new one. Did we get this one? No. New flower. Sure. Of every new flower we come across. I think we do have one of these. Let me get a picture just in case. And then at some point, we'll compile them all. Very sweet. At some point we'll consolidate them all together. Oh, beautiful bumblebee pollen.
I'm scared of bumblebees.
It's a big fatty, isn't it?
It's not fat.
Aren't
It's
you?
just big. It's just chunky.
It's a beautiful bumble.
Oh, I can see it's dangerous.
Oh, look at it. It's so cute.
What?
It's a little bumble.
Dude, it's so cute. I don't know how kids are so scared of them.
Alright. So anyway, doing trail magic is something that, so sometimes it's just water, sometimes it's like, sometimes people will just take your trash for you, which is a huge service. One, the trash usually gets nasty, and 2, it's heavy and takes up space in your pack. And then sometimes people will straight up set up tables, chairs, things like that give out food, hot dogs and hamburgers and grilled cheese and things like that. We've not had anything like that before. Somebody told us that we missed it by one day back near Glasgow. I don't know, Camden. But it's something that, I mean, we're hoping we'll get more of. I mean, who would pass up somebody, who would pass up free food? Somebody that wants to give that stuff to hikers. We certainly will be happy to receive it. And it is something that we're taking notes on and something that we're going to do like next year when we start traveling again. Me and the two little ones will find some opportunity to do that ourselves. We're looking forward to it, taking notes on all the things that have helped us the most. And I mean, what a cool way to like meet hikers and give something back to the trail. Sorry, my nose is a little runny, so I'm trying not to snot everywhere. It's still cold. It is less windy, but it is still cold, and we're on a downhill, so it's always cold on the downhills. You get really hot on the uphills. But anyway, I better pay attention here so I don't fall on my face. It's really nice. It's cold. The wind is still cold. But with the sun, it makes it much more tolerable. Oh, look at that. Picnic table. Gas grill only. Very cool. Nice little lookout spot here. We get down and out of the wind. Just past 3-day hikers. And hey, keep going. I don't know what you're doing. Yeah. But it's really nice to come across people who are excited to see them through hiking. You get such mixed opinions out here. I think most people are like, oh, that's really cool, like, or are curious, like, oh, wow, how is that for you? But you get a lot of people where you can clearly see that they're that they're judging, and that they, since they don't understand how a kid can do it, which I understand, it's very clear that they are opinionated about it based on like kind of what they don't say, They're just kind of quiet to themselves and sort of like, I don't know, you can just tell. But whatever. I think it's hilarious though that like, older people and even elderly people hike the AT all the time. And nobody really thinks anything of it. But yet, a healthy, energetic 8-year-old is somehow not capable, which again, I understand, because when I first thought of the idea of them hiking it, I was like, oh, that doesn't seem possible. But, if I'd come across somebody doing it, I would have asked questions instead of being clearly judgmental about it. I would have wanted to know, like, well, how, and wow, it's cool to see it's possible. But most people are supportive, excited, and interested. And I think it's great. Alright, somebody's a little pokey today. I should add to that as well what I was saying about the kids and people's opinions or thoughts on it. It is, most people assume we are not through hiking. Most people assume we're just out for like a section or a day or something like that. So, I mean, I would say the vast majority of people are surprised to hear they're through hiking. But again, are usually supportive and interested. But it's definitely not the assumption. They see a woman out with 2 kids, and like I think like at the shelter, like last night in particular, there was this one couple that came in. And I mean, they didn't even say hi. They didn't even talk to us. They talked to the other people, but they didn't even talk to us like at all. And maybe it's because we had the tent up in there. Maybe they just didn't think we were through hikers or worth talking to. Who knows? But it was just kind of like, okay. I mean, I was polite and asked them, if they needed to be in the shelter, that I would move over for them. We would squeeze in to make more room if need be. They just weren't receptive at all, which is fine. No skin off our backs. There's tons of people who are really cool to talk to. And we certainly never expected to get along with everybody on the trail. But it's interesting that it's like you get, what I have noticed is it seems to be more that the younger people and the older people seem to be the most receptive to like us and to them. And a lot of the middle-aged people, a lot of them are great, but I would say of the ones who've had like issues, we've only had one issue with one younger guy. And I mean, he spent the whole night, like when we were trying to go to sleep, talking about bears and ticks and stuff. So that kind of tells you where what his mindset is. But only one young person have we had any kind of like issue with. And then like most of the older people have been great. And it tends to be like just those like newly retired people that if there is going to be a problem, and most of them are not, most of them are absolutely great. But when it is those people that were just kind of like, oh, we wish we were at a different shelter kind of thing, it's usually those people who are just sort of like that, you know, 60s, right around in their 60s, I would say, which is an interesting observation. I don't know if that's, yeah, I don't know. That's just kind of what we've observed. It's like it's just clear, particularly if it's kind of like we've had several groups of like just guys in there. They look like they've just retired and they look like they have no interest in being anywhere near kids. We had one guy at a shelter who I think might have, I wouldn't swear to it, but I think he might have passed up the shelter because we were there. I think maybe people assume that the kids are going to be loud and boisterous, and they're not. I mean, when we get in that tent, usually around 6 to 7 o'clock, they're silent for the rest of the night. I don't allow them to talk or anything, and we're going to sleep. The most they will do is, if they're awake, they're on their phones with their headphones, and nobody hears them until like 6:30 the next morning. So our experience has been that more often than not, the people who come in are the ones, you know, the other people in the shelter are the ones talking until like 8:30 at night. And we get quiet as soon as we can. The goal is always to get into our tent by 6 o'clock. Obviously that doesn't happen every time, but our goal is to get quiet by like 6 o'clock. So yeah, I think a lot of, you know, or not a lot, there's some prejudice against kids. Not most, there's some. But oh well, you know, like if people are passing up the shelter because that they're here, because they're there, then they're missing out on a couple of very well behaved kids. And of course a lot of people comment that they're so well behaved, which they are, but I mean, come on, they're them. Okay, come out over there, cross over, blaze here. Okay, stay on the road, or off the road, I mean.
They look like eyes.
Yeah. Okay, come on guys, this is very windy, let's get across it. Trying to not get blown off the road. These cars go fast. Pretty sure the speed limit's not that high on this road, but I see where we go in right there. There's so much wind on these overlooks. You guys are about to get blown away, huh? And then we retreat back into the woods like a Sasquatch.
Have that wind.
Get off the road. And back up in there. Oh, thank God. We were walking and we thought we were going to have to go up that because it looks like people went up that. And then
I think it's just too appealing.
I was like, yeah, I can't do it.
I think it's just too appealing.
Yay.
The food.
Can we spot it? Where
I
is it?
spotted the frog. It's right there.
Don't poke it.
I'm not gonna poke it. I'm just pointing at it.
Hello, little
I want
toad.
to touch the thing.
Mr. Toad. Okay, let's go. Huh?
I'm gonna be crossing this
Yeah,
for the next 2 miles.
I guess so. It's so pretty. Love it. Want to swim in it. It's gorgeous. It's one of those weird cattle fences where you have to go. I mean, you could go that way, or you could just go around this way. I'll go this way, just because, and then you guys went that way. Yeah. All right. Start to see some of the city over there. That looks like an industrial area. We've got 0.1 to go to the shelter. It's all uphill for the last mile. We're tired. We are always so excited to see a sign. It pointed that way, AT South this way. I was like, huh? But I guess they mean that way. But we're going up this way. 0.1 to the shelter. Another 0.1. It says another 0.1. It's fine. I don't think it's that far. There it is. I did read that there was a cistern. I see somebody's already up there. Should be plenty of tent sites. Look at that energy he musters whenever he, and all she can do is cry. Oh, Privy's like right there. Okay, it looks like we have the shelter to ourselves. We didn't set up in the shelter because we don't want to, don't like to. It's not going to be good or bad weather. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody's coming. It's 5 miles to Daleville. I mean, you can probably see Daleville down there. And but I mean, it's nice. We got a nice flat space. The thing collects rainwater, goes down to a cistern, and then there's a gets collected in there. And then there's a little handle place to drain it out into our bottles there, and then we just filter it.
It leaks.
Oh, your bottle's leaking. All right, well, it's time to get into bed.
That's gonna be bad in the
Yeah, stop
tank.
squeezing it. It's time for us to get in bed, get cleaned up, and get to bed for the night. Okay, Camden said we should record. All of us snug as a bug, tucked in, wearing hats, puffies, gloves.
And I lost my tooth today while eating my dinner. I bit on my wiggly tooth and it just popped straight out.
Yeah, so now the tooth fairy's got to visit you at the hotel tomorrow night.
And then,
right?
and guess what? It didn't bleed very much. We didn't have to deal with,
We were hoping it would wait until we get to the hotel, but almost. And are you already asleep? We're all snuggled in.
I know it's
Cold. It is warm. It is nice.
It feels like I peed myself because when I put my legs together, it's sweaty. I do not like it. I have to put my legs.
Somebody's a very, very good cuddler. She's a good snuzzler. She keeps me warm. I guess I keep her warm. And he kicks the blankets
I
off.
pushed her off
And
the bed.
you had us all shoved that way last night.
And
But
I
you
pushed
keep-
her off the bed. I wasn't even on the bed.
I know, you weren't even on the bed last night. Okay, you guys ready to say goodnight? Say
Yeah.
goodnight, say 34.
No.
Do you guys realize we've gone 52 miles in the last 4 days? And then tomorrow we go 5 more, so that'll be 57 miles in 5 days. That's pretty good. All right, good night.